not copying her, she's copying me.
You're copying Brooke. You're copying Brooke. Shut up.
You should be in prison for what you did to the lady in the lake, and you should be minding your own business.
My final goodbye to the world. I have been banned on TikTok, and I wake up every day so sad with so many people telling me to just give up. I just can't take it anymore, and I've decided it's my time to go. I will be living the internet for good and work a normal job and have a normal life. To the people that dislike me, congrats, you won.
Picture this. A creator who built her name on shock and awe clips wakes up to find the internet replaying every controversial moment like a highlight reel, while another creator, Brooke keeps quietly uploading polished, low-drama content that's suddenly serving as the comparison point for everything she does. That collision is the heartbeat of tonight's deep dive into the Natalie Reynolds saga.
I nominate Cassie, I nominate Leah Halton, and I nominate this guy, Sam Des.
What?
Sorry. Okay. Guys, I'm so gonna go. Okay. Okay, I did it.
My name's Natalie Reynolds, and I was nominated by Brooke to do the USC Ice Bucket Challenge. And I nominate Sam Des, Jojo Siwa, and Michael Jackson. 3, 2, 1.
Where a viral lake dare morphs into a years-long narrative about power, empathy, and the cost of courting outrage for clicks. Before we begin, tap like, hit subscribe, and drop a quick comment, 2 words even so the algorithm knows you're here. Now, let's line up the receipts, follow the escalation, and test whether what's being called messy online is actually crossing into something worse.
So we're copying Brooke now. Trust me, I'm not copying her, she's copying me.
Because the pattern only gets clearer the longer you stare at it. And once you see the rhythm shock, backlash, deflection, delete, you can't unsee it, and that's where audiences start predicting the ending before a new clip even drops.
Was I really evil, or was I just 17? I listen because I know exactly how it feels to be unheard. I know there's love in the world because I'm full of it. Karma is real.
Outside of her house, I just want to talk to my friends. I'm not even trying to do anything weird, I just want to talk. Damn!
Which is the most dangerous place a creator can be. The lake is the origin story, and it plays in the mind like a true crime cold open, a shaky frame, a dare to jump for $20, and a panicked voice saying, "I can't swim," as laughter trails off into the distance. What makes that moment stick isn't just the cruelty, it's the calculus. Someone else's fear becomes the price of a punchline, and when the so-called apology surfaces, the internet hears what it believes is performance over remorse. Viewers say the call sounds staged, a role play of accountability that collapses under the weight of its own theater, and that's the first fracture in trust. Then comes the loneliness defensino friends, too much posting, bad decisions. Spiraling, which might be true as a human struggle, but lands like an excuse when it tries to explain away a stranger's terror. What most people missed is how this moment set a template. When consequences knock, pivot to pathos, hope the audience softens, and press upload on the next riskier idea, because attention is a furnace and it always needs more kindling. And yet, even here, had there been real repair, private apology, public ownership, changed behavior, the story could have turned, but it didn't, and that's the thread we keep pulling. The hair controversy arrives like an accelerant, and it isn't just about braids on camera, it's about a refusal to read the room. Watch the clips, and you'll see a cascade of deflection, shistery shopping, Viking references, the insistence that a style choice is somehow a shield against cultural context, which transforms a teachable moment into a debate club exercise. You can almost feel the algorithm's pulse quicken as comments multiply, stitches multiply, and the topic begins to trend. But here's the twist. Outrage can open a door, but it can't carry a channel. And every time a creator treats high-stakes context like a content prop, they're teaching the audience to look for the gimmick behind the apology. That's where curiosity narrows and fatigue thickens, and the price of each new upload gets more expensive because it has to outshock the last one. What could have been a simple, "I hear you, I'll learn, I'll fix it," curdles into a posture defend, distract, dare, and the viewers who are most likely to forgive start to drift. because forgiveness is a currency and it doesn't renew if it's spent on reruns. The tone turns meaner in the clips, where a homeless black man is mocked for his stutter, and if you strip away every social media layer, you're left with the oldest, ugliest dynamic in entertainment, punching down on someone who didn't consent to be content. People can intellectualize a culture war argument, but they respond viscerally to cruelty. And this moment lands like a gut punch because the imbalance of power is so naked. It is impossible to sell empathy after you filmed the erasure of someone else's dignity for a laugh, and that's why this incident becomes a lens through which everything after it is judged. The audience doesn't just remember, it recalibrates now. Every prank, every skit, every social experiment is interrogated for the presence of a target who can't fight back, and the comments shift from "this went too far" to "this is who you are," which is a branding death sentence unless you can prove otherwise, consistently, for months, not minutes. It's also where brands quietly step back, because controversy might be spicy, but cruelty is radioactive. The drive-through mirror clip looks harmless until you analyze it the way viewers did. A worker of color mid-shift turned into a prop so a trend can be filmed on cue. It's a tiny moment that radiates the same pattern: convenience over consent, clout over courtesy, and people who've worked those jobs feel it instantly. The frustration isn't about a mirror, it's about the constant repurposing of other people's time and bodies as set pieces for someone else's storyline. In a vacuum, this might slide by, but stacked on the lake and the mocking, it reads like habit. The DMs fill, the stitches multiply, and the narrative cements. When the camera's rolling, anything and anyone can be content. That accusation is a sticky one because it rewrites how viewers watch even the neutral posts. And once neutrality becomes suspicious, engagement that used to be curiosity becomes surveillance. They're no longer waiting to be entertained, they're waiting to be confirmed. And when your own audience is watching you like a case file, you've lost the benefit of the doubt. The Creator House disaster functions like proof of concept for the responsibility outsourced thesis. Photos of egged walls, broken decor, trash left behind, the kind of mess that tells on itself before anyone speaks. Responses matter most here, and the public response pointing to someone else present, citing guest etiquette as a shield sounded less like accountability and more like a rulebook for avoiding it. Creator houses are reputation engines, and you don't get invited back if people think you treat community spaces as disposable sets. The nuance who did what, when gets drowned out by the optics, because social media is an arena where the image of a thing outpaces the facts by a mile. Audiences aren't juries, they're weather systems, and when the pressure drops, storms roll in. The lasting damage isn't the plaster or the paint, it's the presumption that wherever the camera goes, chaos follows, and everyone around is expected to sweep up when the lens turns off. Industry folks watch that and quietly move their calendars around you. The animal hunting stream is the point where timelines unite, because even viewers who don't track influencer drama react to real-time harm. A spear, a chase, a live broadcast that collapses into backlash and then vanishes like it never existed. Deletion can be a gesture of regret, but in a pattern of deletions, it reads like a tactics race. The evidence, keep the views, move on. People notice when the cleanup crew is a button instead of an apology. And that's when moderators, platforms, and watchdog accounts start archiving aggressively. Once archivists take interest, the delete key loses its magic, and the narrative becomes not just about what happened, but about the attempt to make it unhappen. That's a level up in public frustration, because now the audience isn't merely angry about the act, they're insulted by the cover-up rhythm. And if you've ever wondered how cancellations crystallize, it's often there in the gap between what viewers saw and what you're willing to own. The homewrecker storyline strikes a different nerve because it intersects parasocial fantasy with real marriages. A woman says her 32-year relationship cracked after discovering OnlyFans charges tied to the creator, and even if no direct contact occurred, the story metastasizes across feeds. People project, rumors sprout, some dragging family into it, others drawing harsher conclusions, and the energy changes from bad stunt to bad influence, which is a softer but deeper indictment. It reframes the creator not as an agent of chaos in public spaces, but as a catalyst for private pain. And that's a narrative whose gravity is hard to escape. Platforms may not punish it, but audiences do, because they carry it into every new post, hearing a silent soundtrack beneath the content. whose life pays for this next hit of attention. Even those who defend personal responsibility feel the heat of the conversation, and the creator's silence reads like strategy, which is a terrible brand to wear when trust is already thin. While all this rolls downhill, Brooke Monk's feed becomes the accidental control group. Tidy edits, approachable tone, repeatable formats, minimal drama. Fans do the math on their own timing, angles, creative beats and start alleging copycat vibes. Whether or not intentional imitation exists, the contrast is the content. One creator composes a long game out of steady audience care, the other appears to sprint headline to headline, burning credibility to fuel the engine. And here's the twist most channels miss. You don't have to accuse anyone when contrast narrates itself. In the comments, you can feel the mood sliding from curiosity to prediction, and prediction is lethal because it kills suspense. Once viewers can forecast your next move, another shock, another apology, another delete, they stop watching to be surprised and start watching to be right, which is the quickest path to apathy. If you've ever charted an outrage cycle, you know the beats. Ignition, acceleration, saturation, inversion. We've hit inversion, the phase where audiences aren't shocked anymore. They're tired, and tired crowds don't riot, they recede. Sponsors read that air, collaborators feel it in DMs, and the opportunity window narrows, even as follower counts look healthy. That gap between visible metrics and invisible mood is where careers quietly fail. You'll still see views, but they'll be hate, watch heavy, and hate, watches don't convert into loyalty, they convert into receipts. And once fan archivists frame your timeline as a syllabus of harm, each new upload is graded against a history you can't edit. To reverse that arc, you need a season of boring consistency, private apologies not filmed, public boundaries that protect the powerless, content that doesn't require escalation to stay alive. And that's the one thing an outrage-trained audience won't believe until they've seen it for months. There is a path back, but it is narrow and it runs against the logic that built the current brand. It demands declining easy clicks, refusing to exploit strangers, and abandoning the pacing hack of one-upping yesterday's scandal. It means showing your work, quietly repairing with people harmed, acknowledging specifics, changing how you film, where you film, and who you put in the frame, and doing that long enough for the archivist to get bored. It also means crediting inspiration openly so the Brooke Monk comparisons stop metastasizing into copycat accusations. The playbook exists because other creators have done it, but it's grueling and it can't be faked with a live stream. You have to withstand weeks of lower engagement and trust that healthier audience attention returns slower but sticks longer. Until then, everything is a countdown, and the loudest thing in the room might be the silence between uploads, when the internet decides whether to move on or move in for the final round. For viewers, the lesson is to stop feeding algorithms that reward harm. Choose creators who escalate empathy, not stakes. And for creators watching this breakdown, borrow the right lesson from Brooke's lane. Consistency is a moat, respect is compounding interest, and restraint is a growth strategy when everyone else is addicted to spikes. If the saga at the center of tonight's story is going to change course, it won't be a twist. It'll be 1,000 small choices that never trend. If it doesn't, the prediction economy will win, and the ending will write itself. Tell me where you land. Was the line crossed long ago? Or do you still see a reset button that hasn't been pressed? And if you want more investigations that cut past the smoke and go straight to the pattern, like the video, hit subscribe, drop a comment, and keep your receipts. I'll see you in the next one, where we talk about how a single apology done right can rebuild a bridge that outrage burned down, and the little on-camera habits that tell you whether it's real.